1/8 scale sprint car by rcWizzard Part 3. Chassis coming along. Got the tubes soldered in place that house the torsion bars for the suspension, front and back, along with the other pieces in the rear there that hold everything in place. This here is a brace that I set up to hold the pieces in place. Instead of using iron wire, which in a tight space like that, the iron wire can get melted inside the solder. The solder will flow right over the iron wire, and that can make it a pain to clean up and peel off. So I took some of the thick-walled tubing, drilled a hole in it, 9/64 hole with 632 all thread, and then the two nuts so you can space them out to get them snug into place and hold your piece in place, like I have up front here. There's a piece that's going to hold the support for the front axle to keep it from shifting left and right. I've got a 440 hole tapped in it. That's also the thick wall brass, so it'll hold the bolt better. And I'm trying something different with this front brace here. I've drilled a hole in the wood so there's a gap underneath the joint where it will be soldered, in hopes that that'll help the solder to flow underneath and all around the joint. If you look at these joints here, you don't see a whole lot of solder on this side of it. But then you come over here, this was the top side that I did, you can see the solder all over it. But then where it's flat against the wood, it doesn't flow around as good as it does on the top. So that'll be interesting to see how well that works. And I'm hoping to clean up these pieces here. I wanted supports between those two bars there, and I got too much solder on that, so I want to hold the solder bit underneath that in hopes that'll make it flow underneath and not so much on top. And I've got the engine mounted, made the bracket in the center there. So now there's that. The bracket that houses the motor is now bolted to that. That holds it pretty well. Here's another way of holding small pieces in place. Those little pieces in the corner there are kind of tricky to hold in place with the iron wire. So here's a electrical helping hand, I think it's called. So the weight of that simply is holding that piece in place. And then I've got the chassis secured to the board with those push pins. So that makes it a little easier. So a much quicker setup than the iron wire. Here's my second attempt at making the Jacob's ladder. The first attempt I did kind of quickly, and it's not very accurate or true. The pieces in the corner aren't really 90 degrees to the rest of the frame. So now I drilled the holes a little deeper and have longer round pieces in each corner, and then I raised it up so it'll be easier to take it off once I've got it soldered. So hopefully that'll turn out better. To be continued.